What's going on, guys? This is Damian from The Lookout and welcome to our how to play Green SS4 Goku guide. Yeah, we're finally covering the Green SS4 Goku, but before we begin this video, something very important. Hit the notification bell because I've been told by some people that YouTube currently isn't showing videos on subscriptions. For some reason, it's doing YouTube thing. So hit the notification bell to be notified when we have new videos out, because we'll have a lot of videos out in the upcoming days. And before we go into the video, this video is brought to you by Zenkai Showdown. Zenkai Showdown 2 Xenoverse, the biggest event in Europe, is returning. It's going to be on the 22nd of April in Poznan, Poland. Check this video, check the video with this thumbnail for more information. Now, roll the video! As with all of our videos, let's start with the breakdown. So, first we'll go over a brief archetype breakdown, including some key cards. Then I'll show you some various plays, after which I will show you a deck list that I have made, and we will go over the first 3 turns, and then just wrap it all up with a summary. Let's go! Let's immediately jump into the leader. So, on the front side we have Son Goku, green 10k. Okay, auto is very interesting because we immediately start the game with 48 cards. Yeah, at the very start of the game, we go through our deck, we grab Android 20 and Dr. Mew and we just send them to the warp. So we're starting the game with 48 cards. This is the first time in the game that we're seeing something like this. Then his auto is when he attacks, you tutor basically among top 5 for a green Saiyan, and then you shuffle your deck. And then you have the Awaken 4 or less, or when you have 2 or more energy, while there are 2 or more Son Goku GT cards in your warp. You can do this with Dr. Gero, Android 20. You draw 1, you restand 1, and then you draw until you have 6 lives left. That's pretty standard. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird awakening condition, but it's super consistent. On the front side, this leader's pretty cool. Before we look at the awakened side, here are Android 20 and Dr. Mew. Android 20 is awesome. Send a Goku GT from your hand to the warp to draw a card. That's cool. Like, you always draw at the start of your turn as long as you can keep doing this. Unfortunately, he can't work without Dr. Mew. And Dr. Mew's effect is to make your deck actually horrible. Like, that's it. Dr. Mew doesn't have a single upside, he's just here to make your deck horrible. Like, you cannot play non-green cards. Yeah, okay, sure. Let's go into the Awakened side. On the Awakened side, he is SS4 Son Goku, betting it all, 15k. Well, this one it's not amazing. It's not amazing. I would put it like in the average range. Because he draws when he attacks, that's pretty standard. He restands Z Battle Android 18, but that card is very meh. Like, you want to rest her for other effects, not for attacking with her. So that's also like, not super sold on that one. The cool thing that it has is it can charge a lot of Z energy. That's the cool thing, because we don't have a green leader that can charge this much Z energy. So yeah, that's cool, but overall, you know, it's okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay. The Z Leader, on the other hand, the Z Leader is phenomenal. The Z Leader is actually pretty great. I've heard from some people that, like, this is bad, this isn't good. Like, no, what are you saying? This Z Leader is amazing. So first off, yeah, you need to pay 1 to play him, and he's baseline 15k, but he has an auto where you discard 1 to draw 2. Drawing 2, amazing, because you're going through your deck super fast and you already have started with 2 cards less. So you will likely see everything that you need. Auto once per turn, he can basically deny your opponent's Z energy charge. If it's your turn, when your opponent uses a card in combo, you can place up to 1 of cards from their combo area into their job. You're just denying Z energy charge and you're taking away combo power. But the big thing, so I've heard that this is like not the best, but I think that this is awesome. Activate main once per turn. Switch 1 of your Android 18 Z battle cards to rest mode choose all of your opponent's battle card with blocker, ignoring barrier, KO them, and then this card gets plus 5k for the turn. This is very, very strong because it can wreck some very, very strong cards. Here is a little list of all the cards that you can actually demolish with your activate main. So for blue, you're just taking away their big boss monster, you're taking away the Vegito Z battle card, the Android 18 Krillin boss Z battle card boss monster, also gone. Versus green, if you're playing against Cooler, King Cold is just gone. King Cold cannot do anything to you, and this is one of the harder cards to get rid of. And if you're playing against the newest Invoker deck, Android 17 also just gone. All of them are blockers with barrier, just remove all of them. If you're playing against blue, they can sometimes have multiple of Otherworld Blitz, just activate main once, remove all of them, swing 20 to the face. This is very, very strong. What about the Android 18Z battle card? It's awful by itself. Like, it costs 2Z energy for some reason. It costs 2, which really baffles me. Like, you know, usually these 1-drops are like 1Z energy. Even if they're important, they're not usually 2, but okay. It has barrier, which is vital protection, so that's amazing. Like, it's at least difficult to get rid of. Deflect is a dead keyword, but it would have been nice to have deflect as well if you're paying 2Z energy. It only has 4k power and it can become a 10k, but that becomes useless after turn 2 because all of the leaders now awaken turn 2, so this isn't as good. Yeah, this isn't gonna be an attacker or anything like that. This card is just sitting there for some effects, and that's basically all it does. We also have a Z battle card boss monster, like semi-boss monster. This one is very mediocre. Like, you pay 4, I mean, like, you don't pay 4, you pay 2 to play him and 2 Z energy. At least Z energy is easy to get. Permanent. Well, there are 3 or more paying cards and or cards with GT in their names which aren't Son Goku GT in your Z energy, so you need to have 3 or more Z energy or in battle area or in the drop, so it's easier, it's not just Z energy, fine. This card gains double strike and dual attack, so it's 25k double strike dual attacker. When he's played, you KO one of your opponent's battle cards, not ignoring barrier. And then activate main, you get to cheat him out for 2 energy if you have 4 or more energy and you choose one of your green Son Goku GT cards with an energy cost of 3 or more, then you get to play this card from under Android 18, you know, the one that I just shown you, in active mode, on top of it in active mode, so you're taking away your Android 18, which is super important for some other effects because this one is going on top of it, and it's just 20k double strike dual attacker on turn 4, no protection at all, 4 cost, so like charismatic villain or some other cards can just remove this. It's pretty bad, it's like very mediocre, there's like nothing super special about this one, unfortunately. Then we have 2 SS4 Goku cards. Yeah, these ones are awful. I'm not even going to sugarcoat this. You know, I'm not someone who's negative about cards. I love this game and I can find positives in anything, but these 2 are just awful. Like, they come out super late, you have to do a lot to get them out, and then they're like 15k. And the other one's like 20k sometimes, and 20k critical sometimes. Like, it's so underwhelming. However, there is a silver lining. You basically just look at them as replacement cards. You're never gonna play this. Instead, just use Dr. Gero's effect to send them to the warp to draw one. That's it. That's their only purpose in the entire deck. Okay, I'm going to admit that I have been very critical of this archetype so far. I've been very vocal about how some things in it are just plain bad, but credit where credit is due. This card is amazing. This card is insane. The best thing about this card is that it isn't locked to this archetype. That's the best thing about it. But what it does is, this is literally Unison removal on demand, which is just crazy, like no conditions. This just needs to attack, and if a Unison has free cost or less, doesn't matter how many markers, that just doesn't matter. With this, it's just removed instantly. So that is crazy. That's crazy. This is extremely powerful. This is a green staple forever, I believe. Like, I believe that every green deck will run one copy of this, at least in the sideboard. This is phenomenal. Now, let's get serious for a second. There is a silver lining here. So I have been bashing this archetype for a couple of minutes now. I think justifiably, because this incorporates everything that's bad with green. Like, those SS4 Gokus are just awful, and the amount of hoops that you need to jump through to get like 15k critical guy on the field is just insane when you compare to what other colors are doing. But if you build this, if you remove almost everything from this and you put in 8 cards which are like playsets of Fated Rivals, this deck is amazing. Because like, this deck is the best Fated Rivals deck in the game. So just grab a bunch of these archetype cards, toss them away, put in generic stuff along with Fated Rivals, and you actually have something good here. Here is the deck list that I came up with. It's not refined, it's not the best, because I'm really struggling to see something in this archetype. But other than that, yeah, this is the deck list. Full link is in the description below, and this is the one that we will be going over. Let's go. Let's start with the Mulligan. So, what to Mulligan for in this deck? I think that the best things that you can Mulligan for is get one of these SS4 Son Gokus, hopefully 2 of them, because you will need them to awaken on turn 2, and like use them with Android 20 to draw cards. SS Vegeta Spirit of Resistance is amazing. I think this is the best card in the archetype, ignoring Android 18, the boss monster to the right of it. This Vegeta is phenomenal. He's super cheap, he's 20k, that's awesome. And then let's say grab one of your boss monsters. Yeah, grab one of these Android 18s. Usually I would say like, okay, maybe focus a bit more on Fated Rivals, but let's try to stick to the archetype as much as we can. Let's go over your first 3 turns. This deck is incredibly consistent. It starts with 48 cards, you're drawing like a madman, you're basically drawing 2 cards every turn. When you Z Awaken, you're drawing 3 cards. It's crazy. We'll be going over your first 3 turns, after which you can just play your Z Battle card on turn 4 and hopefully win. Or you can do the better thing and play Fated Rivals instead, and then you can also win, but like more likely. So we'll just go over the first 3 turns and then you can take it over from there. As always, we are assuming that you have kept the mulligan that we have shown you and that you're going first. It is time to see what this deck can do. Turn 1, setting up for awakening on turn 2. Okay, so we start the game. Game starts. First thing that we do is we grab our doctors and we just send them to the warp. Then we charge and draw 1. That's when the Android 20's auto triggers. We send SS4 Goku from our hand to warp to draw 1. Then we pay 1 to play our 1 drop. We search the deck, we grab something. I placed Gohan here. You can place something else that you need. We just play something and then we pass the turn. Important! We need 2Z energy for our Android 18 card. So we'll be just comboing off this 1 drop, and realistically we can get 1Z energy, but if you can, combo twice during your opponent's turn to get the second one in as well, so that you can just play your Android 18 Z battle card on turn 2. Turn 2, we awaken and we start putting on some pressure. We started the turn, we charge 1, draw 1, Android's auto triggers, we pick a Goku, we send him to the warp to draw 1. Then we have 2 Gokus in the warp, which means that we can pay 1 to play Vegeta. We attack, draw 1, discard 1, and KO a card, that is Vegeta's effect, and then we awaken. We draw 1, we restand 1 energy. We attack, draw 1, and then it is time to combo. We combo with literally anything and charge it into the Z energy. Now we pay 1 and 2 Z energy to play our Android 18. We can make one last attack if our opponent's leader hasn't awakened yet, so we attack for 10k and we pass the turn. Our leader's auto triggers, we target the Android 18Z battle card and we restand it. Turn 3, let's put on some more pressure. We started the turn, we charge 1, draw 1, auto triggers, we pick a Goku, send him to the warp, draw 1, and then we pay 2. We pay 2 energy to play our Android 18 and Goku boss monster. We attack, we combo. We combo with something, anything. Send this to the Z energy and then we get to attack again. After which we have 2 possible options. Here are our options. We have 1 energy left. What we can do with it is we can either Z awaken if we are on 4 lives. Otherwise we can play one of these terrible, awful SS4 Goku cards from the warp. Hopefully you'll get to Z awaken, because I can't imagine anyone wanting to play these SS4 Gokus from the warp. What's next? What do we do on turn 4? On turn 4 we can play the following. We can either play our horrible Z battle card boss monster, or we can do a better play and play the Fated Rivals. Depending on the situation, we can go either with one or the other, but I would strongly suggest that you just avoid the 4-drop and go with Fated Rivals instead. And if you go with them, you might actually win the game. Before we finish the video, let's dive into the summary. The deck is extremely consistent, but not really powerful. As you have seen, it has some good cards, like the leader draws a lot, the Z leader is phenomenal, Android 18 and Goku card is amazing, but like even Vegeta is okay, but like the rest of it is just horrible. So it's extremely consistent, but not really powerful. You have to play it as a generic deck to really make it powerful. There is a promise of something better here, but I can't see it yet. I've heard people talking that this is good, but I just cannot see it. If you see this, let me know in the comments, because I don't see it. It is without a doubt a very good Fated Rivals deck. That's what I said earlier, it is the best Fated Rivals deck in the game. I think this is the best Fated Rivals deck. The Archetype has a lot of issues with weak cards. A lot of conditions to play them and a weak payoff. Like, payoffs are awful. Payoffs are awful. Just look at those SS4 Gokus, they're horrible. Like, you wait 3 turns to get 15k, maybe 20 or maybe critical. Like, no. It also feels like there's always something missing on these cards. Like, guys at Bandai should have added just a little bit more to them to make them better. Like 5k power. Let's say if those Gokus had like 20k baseline, they would have been better. Like even on turn 4, 20k critical would have been better than like 15k critical for 1 energy. Or like lesser costs, or like keyword skills missing something. There's always something small that is missing. And if it were here, the deck would have been a lot better. Unfortunately, it is what it is. It is an easy deck to learn, which is why I would highly recommend it to newcomers to the game who are looking for a budget deck. This isn't one of those decks that you will stick with, but it is easy to learn. It charges a lot of Z energy, it goes over all of the important mechanics in the game. So, in my opinion, while this deck is awful when it comes to competitive gameplay, it's very good for beginners, which is why I must highly recommend it. That's it for the video. Let me know in the comments below, will you be trying SS4 Goku? Do you think that this deck is actually good? Have I missed something? What do you think of like this deck as like a generic green deck? Do you think it has potential? Would you recommend this to your friends? Let me know in the comments below. I read all of your comments, I try to respond to everything. I love our little community. And before you leave, don't forget to hit that bell button, hit like and subscribe, and maybe we can get to 3,000 subs by the end of March. That would be cool. So yeah, this has been Damien from The Lookout, and I'll see all of you in the next video.